Howdy, Tumbleweed here, bringing you Tumbleweed Talks. Remember, I'm the good guy with the black hat? Yeah. Well, welcome, and I invite you to partake of my musings. They range from talking about finding the meaning in life, to our relationship with God, to how we rise above the things that impact our lives. This video is the first in a series of videos about our nation, or our world, if you will. I'm going to take a risk today, and I'm going to kick this series off with a poem. Yeah. It's about justice. And justice is a term that gets bandied about perhaps all too frequently in a wide variety of contexts. And with that in mind, I was inspired by a poet out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who writes about her experiences as she grew up as a pre-civil rights era African American, kind of facing what she saw as the unspoken legacy of enslavement in and around Harrisburg. My poem is called Justice Enslaved, and strives to deal with justice from its various perspectives. Now, let me share, just as an aside, a little a perspective from the famous poet T.S. Eliot. He said, "Poets in our civilization, as it exists at present, must be difficult. The poet must become more and more comprehensive, more elusive, more indirect, in order to force, to dislocate, if necessary, language into its meaning." So with that in mind, let me share these words with you. Justice enslaved. To what? To whom are we enslaved? Who forged our chains? Is enslavement just? Where is the justice? Who decides what is justice? Slavery justified from the Hammurabi's Code to Bible scrolls? Neolithic times segue to Sumer, ancient Egyptian pyramids, Greece to China and Hebrew kingdoms, to the ancient Levant, even to the West. Slavery as punishment, debt repayment, spoils of war, or birthright. Christian, Hindu, Islam all find justice enslaved to the law. Is there justice in slavery? From slavery? Be it medieval Europe, yeah, Vikings, Tartars, or Barbary pirates. Slaves were as booty, a mercantile undertaking, a way of life, justified in economics essential to our culture, a fact of life. Whether issued by Dum de Veritas, Romanius Pontifex, or Sublimus Dei, pardon my pronunciations. Pope or imam, king or sultan, made no matter, misanthropes all. Justice stood as mute sacrifice to some larger, greater need. So where then is justice? What indeed is the justice? Reparation? Rehabilitation? Retribution? Mere slogans. From Aztecs to Cortez, Incas of Peru, Comanches of our plains, to southern cotton fields and tobacco barns, enslavement flourished. Justice died. Despite Wilberforce, Newton, and Lincoln, slavery forever prevails. EBT cards replace chains. Urban plantations defy any escape. Khartoum, Delhi, Jakarta, or Detroit, enslavement abounds. We cry out for justice, cry to end enslavement, yet its pervasive tentacles imprison all nations, all people. Justice seems like a shallow game, a losing default setting for life. What is justice to the enslaved? What then is justice to the enslavers? And what is justice for those who would end slavery? Such optimistic fools. Only our souls offer protest, unshackled by iron chains, yet justice rings hollow as payment for our past enslavements. Dare we dwell on justice for past and present sins? Can money or lives truly compensate for injustice perceived or real? For justice remains an elusive charade, be it divine or natural, be it distributive, egalitarian, social, fair, or utopian. Retributive and restorative justice stand as inherently unjust. We find ourselves mired in justice, mine or yours, the red pill or the blue pill. God forgives, and in the end, only the truth will set you free. Indeed. Tumbleweed postures, to whom are we enslaved, and what is the nature of that enslavement? Can justice ever truly be had? Is it better to free ourselves of injustice, real or perceived, by forgiving and thus be set free? Just saying.